Yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC. All right, the one-stop shop for all content surrounding our beloved Vecchia Signora. If you're new to the channel, we welcome you and smash that subscribe button. Please, everybody starting to roll in here for this live session. It's Juve, it's Salernitana going down today, and this could punch our ticket into Champions League, and hopefully that's the case. Need to get the 3 points today. I'm joined by my man Omer. Omer, how you doing today, brother?
I'm great. How are you? How is your
I'm doing
morning
good,
going?
man. I'm hyped up. I'm ready to go. Ready to see us get the job done. Everything that's happened these past couple months, it's all going to come to forefront here. But today, 3 points. That's really all it comes down to. I don't care how, okay? I don't care how ugly. I don't care how pretty. Like, just find me the 3 points, man. And it's Salernitana. So if it doesn't happen today, there's a good thing that we have alcohol, all right, in the house.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be depressing if we can't find 3 points today, all right?
No, come on. They have to. It's like a relegated team that has nothing to play for at home. I mean, everyone is available. If you can't win this, we'll get to it later.
Oh
But I
yeah,
already
oh yeah.
see
No, this
someone
one's
asked-
gotta end up.
Yeah.
With the 3 points. We're gonna take a second, say what's up to everyone in the live chat rolling in here. Joseph Randazzo, buongiorno. Patrick, hi guys. Hopefully Champions League confirmed today. Hopefully, let's get done. Adam, let's get this W. Omer, the tank top. Oh.
I had a feeling. I think the tank top has lost some of its power, but I had a feeling this question would come up. So, yeah.
there we go. Ready to go. Alex B. Ciao, lads. Ciao, Alex. We'll get the 3 points, says Adam. Yes, let's go. Marco coming in here. Boys, let's go. Pilo, Biancolero, buongiorno, fratelli. All right, we got a bunch to talk about, okay? Obviously, we'll recap everything that's kind of been in the news in the build-up to this game, and then, of course, the storylines going into it, all right? We had a situation with, not even necessarily a situation, but we had the Ultras kind of speaking out over this past week, and again, yesterday, different group, the Drughi, not the Vikings, okay? But you had the Drughi coming out yesterday saying that, look, as long as Max is here, he'll have our full backing and everything like that. And if they make a coaching change, we'll back him as well. That's great, okay? But all these messages are just kind of like, for me, it's not necessary and it's kind of ridiculous because the whole time you had groups, and obviously Vikings group put out their statement, which I found ridiculous. Because it was almost trying to state the case that they are the be-all, end-all when it comes to supporting Juventus. They were ridiculing other fans in the stadium for jeering, whistling, maybe leaving early during some of these brutal performances this season, which, by the way, I've always said, I don't necessarily agree with the jeering, the whistling, etc., but you only have one way for a lot of people to express yourself. You're not going to go knock on the door at Contenasa and walk right in and say, hey, I want to talk to, Calvo. I want to talk to Giuntoli, etc. So if you're there, that's kind of the way you're going to express yourself. But for them to, make a big statement ridiculing these other fans while at the same time, every time they've called for silence, sometimes for their own personal motives as a group, and you intimidate others into silence to then also ridicule them for others. The whole thing's just a joke for me. I honestly am starting to just really not give a shit about the Ultras because I don't know. It's too much. It's almost like this, we support the club at all costs, but only if our, criteria is met, etc. I don't know, man. I got bad vibes from that thing. How did you feel when they put out that first statement?
The first one from the Vikings,
The first one from the Vikings, yeah.
I don't know what to make of it anymore. What's the point they're
Yeah.
trying to get through to everyone? Like the wording of it is fine. That's the most basic fandom there is. Be behind your club, no matter who the coach is and no matter who the players are. So we don't need anyone to assure us that that's what Juve fans need to do, and that's where they stood. If you're only a Max Allegri fan, then you're at the wrong place, and I guarantee you won't follow him to his next club. So all of that is just, I don't know, maybe it's Italian drama, maybe it has nothing to do with Juve and it's something personal to them. I lost track of the plot and what they're
Yeah.
trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So I'm just I almost don't even bother reading it. 'Cause, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, action speaks louder than words. You can say how much you love Juve all the time, but if you're booing or silencing people at the stadium, then your actions speak for themselves.
And that's exactly it. And for me, it's like they have, it's almost like they're trying to create this pedestal of fandom through that first message. It was brutal. Make your point, make your stand. Don't ridicule other fans that go there. What a bad look that is, especially from groups who, number one, held the club for ransom, okay, when they wanted their way and threatened to do racial chanting and everything to get the team suspended, to get the team fined, to get them in trouble with UEFA and Champions League. Like, and then when Max came, there was members from that group like spitting on him, okay, and like shitting on him, the fact that he was hired and everything, and after Conte. So they need to just pump the brakes and actually take a look in the mirror. It's not all of them. And I've spoken with members, okay, and they know where I stand, that I just don't like the look that they put out. And I say, and I tell them that 9 times out of 10, the perception that you give is probably like majorly counterproductive to what you're trying to achieve. But the thing is with those groups, it's the leadership. The leadership in those groups is brutal because the people are good and the people in the heart of it are true Juventini. However, their leadership is piss poor. And when your perception is like that, it's no surprise to me yesterday you get the Drugi message, which is, oh no, we support Max, we support whoever's there and whatnot. If they make a coaching change, we're all for it. Of course, now you make this message because you've been ridiculed and torn to shreds over what you put out before through the Vikings because it was a joke.
And
So,
it's not a Juve problem per se. I mean, it happens to a lot of clubs around Italy, like the Ultras taking control, giving team talks, putting out banners of what they deserve and all that stuff. It's not mainly a Juve problem. Just I feel like in the past, I don't know, 2 seasons, they got a bit more louder in trying to control things, which is honestly ridiculous. You know that Milan photo where they're standing in front of the curva and getting like a talking to from the fans.
yeah,
I don't know. That's what is it? Is it something new? Is it something we should expect from every ultra group?
yeah.
I have no idea,
And
but I am certain they'll come around once you start playing good and be more entertaining and winning. I'm
I
sure they'll all come
100%,
around.
100% agree with Marco here. Obviously, what they bring to the atmosphere is great. Is that the only way to achieve it though? Like I've always said, I go like there's no ultras in like sports where you have incredible atmospheres, especially NFL, North America. Like that is incredible atmospheres. And I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't like the ultras approach in certain aspects and scenarios. I agree with Alex talking
Yeah,
about
we're
the
we're not
jeering,
dying playing.
the jeering not looked on favorably. It's like I get that. But bring them up. Make chance while you're at the stadium to ridicule them maybe there, not necessarily ridicule them, but bringing them up and say, yeah, we don't stand for that, whatever. But to do these posts is so unnecessary. It's kind of ridiculous to me. But again, It's
No,
just
I
very,
was
very
just
strange. And at the bottom of it all, the root for me is the problem that it's there's always something coming down the end of the line. Okay? It's always something they whenever they try to go out and on social media and pump themselves up and pump their tires, there's something coming down the end of the line. And I just have a feeling there's going to be something coming down the end of the line. Something they're going to look for, something more that they want in terms of demands. Let's
yeah.
see. Let's see.
Look, I'm not downplaying their importance. They're really
No,
important, and it's brilliant to have them in the stadium. It just there are certain moments and some stuff that they choose to do that I don't personally relate to or think it's even necessary. But I don't know. Maybe it's different. Maybe the vibe is different around the league in Italy, and it's more common and people accept it. For me personally, no, but they are important. Let's not forget that. I love games when they're in the stadium and singing and the banners and everything. That's brilliant. More of
and
that.
and this is another thing. So why take yourself away and silence yourself during a game that qualifies Champions League? You've decided that you're going to remain in silence for the next two home games, but you will be at Bologna, will be at the Coppa Italia final. Why? What good does that do in
Yeah,
turn?
what
And
is
that's why I say, if at the root of it all, you are in fact 100% behind this club, how on earth is that? Is that how you make your stand against what is, and that's what I mean. What is it actually about? If it's about the
well,
jeering, if it's
that's the
about the
thing.
whistling, then silence them out. Silence them
Hmm.
out with your power of the whole curva and what you do in the stadium. But to now go there and remain in silence, it makes no sense to me, you guys. It makes no sense. Now,
Yeah, let's move on.
we we move on because that's just a strange one for me. But Bremer, Fabrizio Romano obviously came out with his statement there stating that there's an agreement in place between Juventus, Bremer, his entourage, that if a club he accepts comes in with an offer of 55 to 60 million euros, Juve would be accepting it. So, what the big thing about this actually is the fact that you got 70 million as his release clause next season. And to actually say at 55 to 60 million euros, we're going to release him for less if a club comes in as agreed upon. That's kind of ridiculous. This is a little bit of a red flag for me, I'm telling you. When
Well,
it
yeah,
comes
yes and no. Yes and no. On the surface, yeah, but I had the exact same feelings with Delict, which we sold for less than what we could have gotten for him. But it was important in order to sign Bremer and beat Inter to it. So maybe there's like a grand scheme, and the minute he's sold for even 55, it allows us to bring someone that we really want, really important before anyone else gets the chance.
the
But I seriously doubt they'll sell him for you know this low price.
Well, this is what I'm saying. That is a little bit of a red flag on its own. 70 million release clause is a red flag on its own in the next season. There's
Yeah,
there's no there's no need for it to be that low. Release clauses are
because
intended to protect yourself if a team comes in. But the fact that we could potentially have agreed to this at 55 to 60 less when his release clause is more the year beyond, yeah, that is a little bit of a red flag. Like that's strange. That's really, really
or
strange.
or
Um,
maybe yeah, there's more to it than we know or understand or
I
any
would
of
I
them.
would I would hope so because at face value, if in fact what Romano's bringing is true, that is brutal. That's brutal. No matter what, I don't care who the guy is coming in on the next side. You're talking about not maximizing on your
Well,
profits.
let's not forget that according to Romano, Felipe Anderson was already a Juve player, so I mean his credibility has kind of taken a hit.
Sure.
So So let's wait and see. I'm not buying it. If it's just that, it's the dumbest deal we could have made, and Juntoli doesn't strike me as a dumb person.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't followed him. You know, he's been at Napoli or whatnot, but I already don't like the fact that there was a 70 mil clause in there. It's too low. It's too low for a clause. I've said that since day one. If you've got Marcus Thuram on a 95 million euro clause, you think Bremer should be on a 70? If they're looking at
No,
selling Coop
Bremer
Mainers
should
for if
be.
they're looking at selling Coop Mainers for 60 million euros to us, we're selling Bremer at 55 to 60?
I
Nah.
mean, you're telling me
Something's
his
up.
worth is only 10 million better than, like, what's his name from Atalanta, Scalvini? I mean, is
Scout.
that even the same? Yeah,
Yeah.
Scalvini is valued at what, 40, 45 they wanted for him. That's the numbers that were thrown around. I mean, Bremer is miles ahead of him, sorry. And 100 million clause would probably be the right one.
Yeah.
Like a figure that I even start with, tell him that maybe go down to 90, fine. I can, swallow that pill. But beyond that, I think there's like a grand plan behind it if it does happen.
Yeah.
And we're not aware of it. So let's wait and see. I seriously doubt they'll sell him this summer for this low.
Now, what we have to do is take a quick second because Bremer, there was more news on Bremer we got to talk about because obviously he didn't make the Brazil squad again. And again, this just keeps creeping up in the background. This back four thing and everything that you're talking about with Bremer. How do you feel about not making the Brazil squad, back four, Bremer, and that being the reason why?
I
Potentially
don't think that's the reason at all.
because of the
I
back
was
four?
Yeah, we've talked about it a million times. I'm not buying it. Players can adjust. It's about the right partnering, the all across the back line. I'm not buying that a guy this good at defending would suck at a four-man back line.
Yeah.
And Brazil do have this tendency to keep summoning players who are way past their prime. I mean, Thiago Silva is like 38. They're still calling him. Marquinhos is still summoned. I mean, they still summon Sandro from time to time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's always been the case with Brazil. And I don't know why. I have no idea, but I seriously doubt it's a back four thing.
Yeah. It's I failed to believe that because everybody's claim on Bremer not being able to play this back four is how good he is at man marking. And it becomes more of a zone type defensive style when you're in this back four. Well, that's not always the case. And we actually saw that firsthand as Chiellini would be the guy going 1v1 on guys while you had your cleanup guy with him. And you've seen that in a number of pairings. I don't buy into these positional claims. We heard the same thing when he came from Torino, and it was like, oh, he played on the left side there. Now all of a sudden he can't play the heart in a back three.
Exactly.
Well, lo and behold, he did, and he did fantastic at it. It's more so going to be the pairing if you put him in a back four. It's that's the way it's gonna work, and
And don't be Allegri. Don't give it one shot and then give up on it. It will
I
take some
just
time, probably.
I just don't buy this thing
No.
positionally. Like, this goes for all players. You guys have, everybody that's been following has known what I've said about Federico Chiesa and the positional, like, mental gymnastics people go through to believe that players out there can only play one set position when in reality, you probably never, like, growing up and coming through the ranks, you play so many different positions because you were a footballer first, okay? And then you find your role, you find kind of this home and whatnot. But to say that there is absolutely zero flexibility within that, no, I can't buy into that. I can't buy into that. Not there's just no way.
Yeah.
There's
No,
no way.
there probably will be some growing pains if we move to a back four with Bremer, but I'm not buying the best player in Serie A and best defensive player in Serie A and for me, top 5 in the world right now, top 10 for sure, for everyone, I believe. If you move him, if you take one guy out of the defense, then suddenly he's none of that. I mean,
Yeah.
does it sound logical?
Yeah,
To any?
I'm not getting into I can't buy it. I can't buy it. But there are a couple in the live chat I see here. Norbert saying, I don't think Bremer can't play in a back four. He's with us. RB Comp says Bremer can't play in a back four. Says we've seen it time and time again. Have we? I don't know.
No, I don't remember seeing it.
I don't think, yeah.
We probably have once or
A few
twice, but
times. A few times. I don't know. But the Bremer situation, again, if he ends up going, all right, just I need to have the coverage. I need to have somebody solid. Calafiori on his own, standalone. Obviously, he's in the news as well. Before we get to it, I want to remind everybody, smash that like button right now. You know, we got close to 50 in here right now. Let's go. Hit the like. And a big shout out to all the mothers out there. It's Mother's Day. Tony Trim reminding everybody in the chat, like a fine young gentleman that he is, okay? Happy Mother's Day. All right? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Now, Tony Trim
all the
also
mothers
was
in the
the
chat.
official in our kit battle that we just put out there that's getting some good reviews and stuff. Obviously, we let our members do whatever the hell they want. We had a lot of fun with that one. Sev challenged me to a kit battle. We posted it for just the members, and then I opened it up. It's been out for a bit now, but we had a lot of fun with that. So check out that kit battle if you haven't seen it. Fun times. And I thank Trim, and of course, thanks Sev for being a part of it. And again, reminder to all the members, you have the power to set up some members only shows. If there's a game show you want to do, if there's a talk you want to have or whatever, reach out because again, we let you do whatever the hell you want. Calafiori, for me, he's a must, but he's not the replacement for Bremer. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah, yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. Calafiori, I think, we got to get the job done on that. At 25 million euros is ridiculous. And if they could take some counterparts, whatnot, that's great.
That price is
Solid.
not going to drop down. I can assure you that.
No, it's definitely not going to drop and everything. We also have rumors today speculating from Tuttosport that the agreement is there on a contract to 2029 at a salary of like 2.5 million euros. All right. Sign me up. Hopefully that's the case. Calafiori would be great, but he's not the Bremer replacement. So if Bremer goes, yeah, something's going to have to be done there. But hopefully we land Calafiori. In terms of financing the Mercado, and that's another reason with this whole Bremer thing, we're hearing mixed things. Obviously, we talked about it in one of the daily updates I brought to you, was the report of 100 million euros coming in through Sule, Hoysen, Barnechea, Caio Jorge. Adding Illing Jr. to that takes you to around 110 mil, according to these. Okay? You still have Miretti and Caviglia set to leave potentially. Miretti most likely landing at Monza and maybe as a part of a Di Gregorio or even a Colpani move. I can't see us moving all those young guys. It makes no sense for the sustainable thing we keep hearing about the project. Do you agree with me on that one, Omer?
Yeah, I would have liked to keep some of those names. I'm actually starting to think Bernachai is actually someone who has to stay. Um, but it depends on the coach and what system we're playing. But if Nicolosi is out, I'm not going through. I don't want to go through another season with a player that has no replacement on the bench, no natural replacement, and have to do some makeshifts with 4 competitions. No, if we're playing with 3 men in midfield, Locatelli is the defensive midfielder. I want someone else on the bench
Yeah.
who is actually going to see minutes, not like Caviglia. Poor Caviglia.
Yeah, I just can't see moving all of these guys. What I actually do think, and I said it, I think you can expect one of the big guys to be sold, and it might be Bremer, And then I would expect a few of these young guys to be moved. But you might get one of Sule or Huijsen sold. One of those two might also be sold next to Bremer. And
which
you
is fine.
actually, yeah, and you'd see good capital as a whole in that. I've seen a lot on social media people coming up with their out list versus in list. And what they're doing is factoring in the salaries that we lose in terms of Rabiot potentially, we'll get to that, but Sandro, Pogba, etc., and factoring that in to the purchases. It doesn't necessarily work that way because you can only spend as much as you bring in. So all that those salaries that leave do is help your annual costs, but they don't go directly into the mercado. So that's the only downfall to a lot of the out in lists that are out there that people are putting out. It's not quite that way. But I do
Mhm.
believe that we see potentially Bremer go, and then one of Sule and Huijsen to really fund and spark the mercado. We'll see what happens, but I can't see both Sule and Huijsen if they are really going to bring around the numbers that the rumors suggest. I would expect one of those players to be sold. I really would. It's
Yeah.
easier in the grand scheme of things to build your money up in less moves. So it makes the most
Mhm.
sense.
I just don't see two players from the same position leave. I think it will depend on who's the big profile that's leaving. If it's Chiesa, I assume that Hoyson will be the one out the door, and if it's Bremer, I guess it will be Sule.
Yeah. It maybe. We'll have to
Hmm.
see how it plays out, but it's gonna be interesting to follow to see what they do in terms of Rabiot. It's more of the same. That there is some optimism filtering through that he renews. Juve apparently is going to wait and ride this thing out to try and get that signature and keep him around. Alex P saying Rabiot non si tocca. I'm of the goodbye.
Si toca.
Sitoka,
Yeah.
Sitoka, yeah. Uh, it uh, it is what it is, you guys. We'll see what goes down in the midfield. I think from most reports, the only one they're saying is a lock remaining right now through it is Locatelli. You guys know where I stand. Next season, there are players, especially if a coaching change is made, that are on their last leg at. And Alex P is joking. He says if he doesn't sign long term, he needs to go. Um,
I don't even want him long
I
term.
don't even know if it's at that point for me, but Locatelli, going back to what I was saying, is one. Chiesa is another. Those two for sure last legs with Juventus for me next season. That is it. That is it. There's no more give on that leash for both of those players.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has to be. I can't hear about Locatelli out of position any longer. It's been 3 years, three full seasons. Enough's enough. Some of my frustrations come with even Max in terms of just rotating guys. Now Caviglia's going to be used in the Coppa Italia final, and he hasn't even seen the pitch for quite some time. And
I
it's
think
like now
it's
you're going to
in
have to depend on him.
January.
Try to get these guys in him, especially if guys are just not cutting it out there for a while. Rabiot's on the same list for me in terms of this season getting way too much leash because you've seen what the guys can do when they're on. They got to bring that. And if they're not, rotate it out. Rotate it out and try
Yeah.
to bring them up. But it's been too many passes on starting lineups for me. But Chiesa's on that list for me too. Chiesa and Locatelli. Is Chiesa ramping up for the Euros? We'll see. We'll
Maybe.
see.
Maybe. Wait,
Maybe.
I'm interested in when's the last time Caviglia has played.
Yeah, try and
And
dig that up. I want to bring up the other side of how we drop the funds in the Mercado because while we heard about all these young guys, the other side of it was five players. Kostic,
Mhm.
McKennie, Illing Jr., Milik, and Keane. If that's how we're going to draw up, and this is the flip side of it, if this is how we're going to draw up funds for the Mercado, it ain't going to be a whole hell of a lot.
But those are the right names.
They are names that I think need to move, but you're not going to fund a Mercado there. You're looking at selling Keane at break
Oh, absolutely
even.
not.
15 million euros breaks us even on Moise Keane, and his valuation is 10 to 15. 15 million euros is break even. Okay, McKennie will get us a little bit of capital. Milik might gain us 8 million in capital. Illing Jr., we could see maybe 15 in capital, maybe. Kostic, not gonna see much in capital. If that's funding our Mercado, welcome back to Juventus, Stefano Sturaro. Okay, so
Yes.
I can't. That's not gonna be how Juve funds the Mercado. But these are names we could very well see leaving, right? So, did you
So
find the
just
last match Caviglia was in?
yes. So he played on the 10th of March for 14 minutes. He played on 12th of February for 13 minutes. 11th of January, 28. 59 against Salernitana, 36 against Frosinone. That's December. I'm talking about December now. And Monza and Inter. Like even when he played, like the most he played was 70 minutes, and that's when Lucatelli was injured or was suspended. I don't remember, but he didn't play against Inter. And yeah, and now we have to bank on him to stop Atalanta.
Yeah,
Godspeed.
and again, good luck to him. Should we be getting him in some minutes today against Salernitana?
Absolutely.
Absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
And another player that was rumored to potentially be getting in the lineup today, and it doesn't appear he will, was Tiago Djaló. Maybe he comes in later on, but there's a weird scenario going on there with Tiago Djaló not getting any minutes, loan talks. He's also been added into the list of potentially going over as a counterpart in the Calafiori deal. So with this Djaló thing, this is it's interesting. They're absolutely 1000% for me has to be something going on that we just don't know about. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be. Either he's not fully healed from his injury, uh, and if that's the case, the club should communicate it and be open about it. The fact that they're not open about why he's not playing makes me think it's something to do with, I don't know, locker room attitude, some beef with Allegri. Maybe Allegri just doing the spite the management because it wasn't the signing he wanted. But I don't know, something is weird there. I mean, not even 1 minute since he signed, since January.
And I just I gotta think it's gotta be something it's gotta be something maybe in terms of the recovery, but at the same time. So you're gonna look at loaning him out in the summer or whatnot, rather than be open and transparent that, hey, you know what, he's taking longer in recovery. I don't even know if it's that. Because they were very forthcoming when it had to do with Chiesa. How many times did we hear, hey, his recovery's extended, his recovery's extended, his recovery's extended?
And Pogba, whoever.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on there. It's
And if he
really
is,
bizarre.
and if he is injured, there's no reason to put him, in the of the guys who are called up for every match.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange.
Yeah.
And Adam's saying feels like we got him just so Inter didn't get him. Alex, are we 100% sure he's recovered? I don't know what the hell the case is. And Alex is asked, does he even train normally? Can't remember seeing him in the training vids. I believe he's been training with the group for some time. Because
Yeah,
we
our guys always say who's out and who's in the gym and who's just doing
yeah.
physiotherapy.
Albanese and
And
Romeo Gresti always are on the fitness tracker as far as who's doing individual training, who's done separate. He's been part of the group for some time because, again, he's been there and dressed as an available player for a while.
Look, it's weird because me and Lou, we're in the news all day. We read tons of news. Some of them we don't post because it's just uncredible sources, ridiculous stuff. But there's been literally zero news about Djaló from
Yeah.
wherever you want. The most obscure sources or the most credible ones. No one mentioned any reason to why he's not playing. It's all assumptions.
Yeah. It's a strange one. It's a strange one with Djaló, but again, uh he's not going to be in the lineup today. Will he be getting some minutes? If you can't play a guy against the worst team in the league in a game that you're at home, that you need to clinch a Champions League qualification, I don't really think you're going to get any moments to
Okay,
play
so
this
so
guy.
here's my guess. Allegri, because Allegri did say he'll probably see some minutes, and he doesn't usually say that and doesn't play a guy unless
Yeah.
he
Because he said
he
he could
has.
start. He said he could start tomorrow.
Yeah, we knew he wouldn't
And he
start. Come
went
on.
with Rugani, and he went with Bremer and Gatti. And to be honest, I Gatti's been the second half for him has been very, very bad in my opinion. So I'm not scared to start a guy like, and Djaló could play anywhere across the back. That's the thing with him. I don't understand this reluctance, but sure, but he's got to get some minutes today. And if not, hopefully we qualify, we get the job done. Then there'll be some games that are meaningless that he could get minutes in and we can actually see.
My guess is that Allegri is planning to sub him in at some point, but we will drag it out with a 1-0 till the 85th minute, and then we have to keep the score line in order to qualify. And John won't see any minutes. Does that sound familiar?
Well, I tell you what, if we look at the projected lineup, you might be right. We'll talk about it, okay? We'll get into it. But I want to ask one last question before we get to Salernitana, Juventus, set square off. Coop Mainers, everybody in the live chat, weigh in right now. Should he be our main target in the midfield? Some of the free agent midfielders we were looking at starting to drop. Should Coop be our main target in the midfield, Omer?
I want to say yes, but something about that price kind of moved me away from it. I don't know, 60 million, 60. That sounds too much. He's a phenomenal player, and Juve would doing great business in buying him. But 60 million. I mean,
I
Kefren Turam was like 40 or 50, and maybe
well
even 60. But yeah,
well
he's
we
out of the question. He'll
well we
be
heard it
more expensive.
60. It was 60 last year. Everybody heard 40, but the guys were like there was no chance he was selling for 40. Nobody's going to be picking him up for 40. I think we're all in agreement. Like and Jorginho obviously signing their extension. That's kind of one of the frees that went down that would have opened up some flexibility for us. Cruz is going to be hanging around. Modric is leaving. 38
Yeah.
years old. He just
And
can't be a main guy for me. Like I said, there was always that stipulation for me. If he was willing to be a support guy and come in, I'm all for it. But as a main, no. I think we're all in agreement looking at the live chat here. Coop, yes. The 60 is tough. The 60 is tough. It's a little
I
it's
mean,
a little unsettling.
You can't plan to make, I don't know, how many names do we have? Minimum 7 players leaving. I guess it will be more. Um, you can't spend like, I don't know, what do we have? 100 million, they said, for the market.
Yeah.
60% of it on one player, then 25 for Calafiori. And what do we do with what we have? How do we fill in the rest of the positions? They're
There's a
planning to buy
little
a
bit
fullback.
of there's a little bit of leeway there though because it's not always like it's not always one for one. For instance, the contract terms on the purchases that helps kind of shift everything. So your 60 mil purchase isn't necessarily 60 like immediately. It's spread out through whatever that contract may be, 3 years, 5 years, etc. and it kind of helps you in that way. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we bring in 100 mil. How much of that is capital is what kind of matters the most. And then even in
Yeah.
your purchase, 60 mil doesn't hit your 60 mil capital instantly. It's kind of spread, and then you take from there. So it's
Yeah.
still a big. It's still a big number. It's still a
So
big
they
number.
can find some way around it. Maybe even some counterparts were thrown in. Some names, maybe Sule. I
I
don't know. It
think
still sounds like too much,
it
but
does
if we do
sound for
get
it
him,
does sound for too much because, and somebody's brought it up before I can even get to it. So shout out to Foltzy here. Mirko said we're going to spend 60 to 70 between two midfielders. If you're splashing 60 on Coop, and we know we're going to need to bring some. Look at the list that is leaving. I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult. And if Miretti's being used in a Di Gregorio or a Colpani move, you're still going to have to bring somebody in. Okay. And maybe that's the play. Maybe it's Coop and you're getting like a Colpani or whatnot. But I think Samardzic still has to be in our plans for me. Samardzic should still be in our plans.
if
Okay.
you ask me, lock Samardzic before you move to the next midfielder. Because it seems like a pretty straightforward deal, not a whole lot of money. So then you know how much you have left to spend on a different midfielder because he's
Yeah.
like the lower price. But if you start with Coop, your options narrow down significantly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's but with Coop Manners and Samardzic, I'd be very happy. I'd be very, very happy with those two
Yeah, I
mids
mean,
coming in.
don't get me wrong. If we do land Coop, that's a hell of a deal for us, and I assume he'll be great for Juve.
Yeah.
I like that move a lot. Just they have to adjust the numbers
Everybody's
somehow.
forgetting about Fagioli. Fagioli will be available very, very soon, and he will be back. And yes, I'm expecting him to get some minutes to just close this chapter in full, get some minutes. It may be, it's hopefully, we get the job done today, games that don't mean anything. And it could just be a relaxed, nice bookend to the nonsense that went down. But it's going to be interesting to see what Giuntoli decides to do this summer. And that's kind of the wild card is what is Giuntoli's vision? What is he going to do? Are we going to find out? Say we qualify Champions League today, Coppa Italia final. There are reports that everything's coming out right after that. I expect it to actually be at season's end. But will we start getting finalizations in contracts with these guys that are renewals? I actually think you'll get that potentially after Coppa Italia final, but you're not going to know in coaching, in targets, moves, and stuff. I don't think any of that until season's end. With Max, there's rumors already after Coppa Italia final, if we qualify today for Champions League, come Thursday, that sit down's going to happen and everything. I'm not buying into that, but contract
Yeah, he said
extensions
it.
maybe.
He said it. He said in the press conference they asked him about his future, and he told them like, "You waited this long, can't you wait
Yeah,
2 more weeks?" Something
yeah,
like that. So first of all, that's not the answer of someone who's staying. But I don't want Juve to deal with it now.
yeah,
Like the earliest is after the Copa. Win it, get in the Champions League, then the rest just doesn't matter. We'll be running on neutral anyway. So just finish what you need to finish and then get to all of it. But we will see some extensions. Um, who is a different question? Like who's top priority and who's not the first name on the list for extensions. Because I
yeah.
guess some of them will be affected by who decides to sign and who doesn't. If Rabio doesn't renew, it changes things for other midfielders. I guess.
Yeah, I just don't expect it to happen so quick. It'll be at season's end and everything. And you're right. He's kind of said it. And yeah, we've seen the signs for quite some time now that just doesn't feel like he's talking like a guy that's staying. Um,
Or
but
maybe he's just shitting a soul. I mean, he loves that. So maybe that's the case too.
hey, we'll find out soon enough. season's coming to an end and a close, everybody, and we're gonna have some fun wrapping things up and everything. We got some cool stuff and surprises coming down the end of the wire here, all right? But today, it's Juve, it's Salernitana. We know what's at stake. You're not going to get a better opportunity to clinch anything than line up against number 20 in the league, okay? They
Already
literally
relegated.
literally are ravaged as well. Okay, they are ravaged. If it's not only that it's Salernitana, okay, it's a Salernitana that again is just in ridiculously poor form. And Majore's out, Castanos is out, Guillaume's out, Boateng's out, Ochoa is out. Okay, Candreva is ruled out. It's literally a 20th side that is also depleted of anybody that can
What
help their
um,
cause, and they're only playing for pride. Please, on Mother's Day, of all days, do not fuck this up, Juventus. This needs to be a 3-0 minimum. Stamp your ticket into the Champions League qualification, and let's move on to Wednesday for the Coppa Italia. They're just, that's all that you could say about today's game. It's not just the Salernitana. They are absolutely ravaged. For us, Chiesa will be available. Djaló, we talked about him, might get some minutes, but your starting lineup from Romeo Agresti, probable lineup: Szczesny, Gatti, Bremer, Rugani, Cambiaso, McKennie, Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic, Vlahovic, and Keane up top. Well,
well, first of all, I have déjà vu. I heard this team is in last place and it's super depleted. We need to win this easily. I've heard it before, right? It's not the first time, but yeah, just I don't want to finish below Bologna. I don't want to finish in fourth because that's like the minimum requirement we went into this season with. And so yeah, win that game. You wouldn't get a better chance to qualify for the Champions League than a depleted, relegated team.
yeah.
And if you manage to screw that up, let's say by starting Keane when Yildiz and Chiesa are on the bench, then I don't know, you got what's coming for you. You've earned it.
Yeah,
And
and I mean,
but they
Jesus
should
Christ.
win it.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
four more
Look,
games to 3-5-2. That's how I see it. And after today, it will be three more games, and hopefully, we won't see that lineup again.
this lineup, whatever you could pick out on it, okay? It still shouldn't matter against a depleted 20th side in the table. And some of these guys, maybe some of these guys find a way into the lineup for Salernitana. Maybe some are like on a game time decision basis. I didn't go too deep into it because ultimately it really shouldn't matter for us. You can't get up for this game, okay? Because this one erases everything that's come before it. It doesn't matter. Your fate is in your own hands, and you're at home, and it's Salernitana. Just go and get the job done. These guys, there is more than enough on the pitch to still get this job done. I understand that you have Chiesa that is dealing with a virus, same as Yildiz and whatnot, and maybe you don't want to go with them right out of the gate. I understand you have a Coppa Italia, which we do want to win that trophy on Wednesday and everything. So I can get behind it all. This really is all on the players on the pitch. You have to see this one as a victory. Bottom line. Bottom line.
Yeah, we have to.
Like there's nothing else to say about this game. So as far as the lineup getting into this with these players, it is what it is. I expect more rotation quicker in this game, but of course, as you mentioned, it'll depend what happens with the score line. Now, before we get into Storm the Barn, let's talk about the predictions, okay? Let's get our predictions in. Final score, 2 tiebreakers. Everybody, we can fire it up now and get into it. Omer, kick us off. This is Champions League qualifier. What's your prediction?
Okay. So I'll go with 2-0 before halftime, and then that's the way it ends. Um, I don't know. I want to say that Keane finally gets his like goal of the season. Yeah, let's go with that. Sounds interesting.
Okay.
And maybe some defender gets one. I think some defender gets one. I mean, it's a pretty easy assumption to make, right? We've been looking to our defenders to save us on corners and set pieces and everything for a long time. I guess they won't be the same.
Yeah. Yeah. FFF thought would join for some laughs. You don't have to go far for some laughs, man. Just drop your pants and take a look down. That tiny little thing should make you laugh. Now, I'm going to go with my prediction. Always giving it to the Chihuahuas. Always have to give it to the Chihuahuas. You will forever be below the most successful team in Italy. All right. So just stay on your knees and keep getting teabagged by our nutsacks, buddy. Okay. You took my prediction because I was going to go 2-0, but I'll change it. Okay. And
You don't
I'll
have
just
to.
say that we end up finding 3 goals in this one. So I'll say 3. 3-0 for Juventus. Okay. I'm going to say that Vlahovic definitely gets a goal. Okay. Maybe even a brace. But I'll say Vlahovic gets one of the goals. And I'm going to say that I'm going to say we get you said defender's going to score, but I'm going to say that the midfield gets back in. You said Keane gets his first one, but I'm actually going to say that McKennie. Fine, I'm going to go back on that McKennie
Oh
train.
no, no, I'm not falling for that again.
I'm going
No,
to go back on it and say McKennie finds his way on the score sheet. All right, so we're going to go with that. We're going to go with that. But yeah, it's going to be a game that I'm telling you, if we don't actually command and boss this thing on a depleted Salernitana, then as you said previously, Omer, you kind of deserve what you get if that's the case, right? So see what
it goes to
happens.
everyone, not only Allegri. I mean, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So see what it is. See what it is. You guys, reminder, smash that like button. Okay, let's get the likes up here and everything. And we are going to get to storm the barn. We got a hard stop on today's show. But again, we got about half an hour still to go and everything. Okay, so lots of time. Storm the barn. We had one earlier from Sweaty, and we're going to get to it right now. Do you think Juve will get any quality free signings in the summer? The options are getting thinner by the day, and that's kind of what we talked about before with it. Oh, and I do have to tackle this before we get to this question. Unfortunately, my friends, because it's Mother's Day over here, I will not be able to bring you a watch along. But Wednesday, midweek, I am, despite work and everything, I'm bringing you a watch along for the Coppa Italia final, all right? And hopefully we bring that trophy home, okay? So no watch along today, everybody, but watch along for the Coppa final, okay? Now back to this one here. I've been saying we are still going to have to work the free signings. As far as quality, we'll have to wait and see. It's a pretty thin list, though. I'm going to be quite honest.
Yeah, we ran through the list, I think, like
Yeah.
2 episodes ago, and there weren't a lot of interesting names there to begin with, and now some have dropped off.
If you're looking
And
at quality, like definitely not at forwards. There's next to nothing for forwards.
well, there
Nothing
is Mbappe.
impressive. So, well, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, come on.
You think Real would buy him and loan him out to us for a season?
So, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
it's
so
not.
I'll run through some of the names again and tell me who do you find interesting or consider like a top signing. Aside from Mbappe, it's Hermoso, Zelinski is already an Inter player. Varane, Guido Rodriguez, Josh Brownhill. I have no idea what that is. Rafa is the most interesting one, to be honest. Rafa
Yeah.
who left Benfica.
And he's come up in the chat here, okay? And Rafa has been brought up by a few in here. It's interesting. That was interesting. But
What did happen yesterday is that Luis Alberto wasn't summoned to the match, although he's healthy. So it seems like he's out the door. He wasn't even called up to the bench. Um, so yeah, maybe that option will open itself up again, and if it does, I'm all for it. I think that could be considered a quality signing. But I'm kind of sure that Tito would let him go anywhere but Juve.
yeah.
But he wants a discount on Rovella. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I can imagine it.
Yeah.
It seems par for the course. But I don't see us giving any discounts. In terms of the quality, though, there, like, I'd say Rafa's an interesting one, but it's pretty slim. It's pretty slim. I'd
Yeah,
say
it's
you're more looking at guys that can come in and maybe help in certain type of roles and whatnot. But there's quite a bit of risk involved there. You know, there was a couple in there that I think made sense for us that went away. I was really opening up to Jorginho. That one would have made a lot of sense for Juventus in a big way. He obviously signed with Gunners and whatnot, so that makes things very, very different. Modric for me, it's a support style player where he's at right now, but he's still logged 2,000 minutes this year, or just over 2,000 right now as we sit. So I mean,
yeah,
hell,
almost more than all of the Juve roster, except for Bremer and Locatelli. Yeah,
yeah,
after the names I've read, the list goes downhill pretty intensely. Yeah, no, not a lot of interesting names.
yeah. It's
Nicola
it's
Pepe,
pretty
do you
it's
want
pretty
him?
slim pickings, and some of the guys that would have really made a lot of sense for events help, and that's why I brought up that question earlier about Coop Manners. It's one of these things that it flips. That 60 million's tough, but maybe you can make it a little bit better with a counterpart. Hopefully, maybe you sell a guy that you were kind of on the fence about in order to make it done. But as these guys start to drop, yeah, his importance kind of has picked up, right? So
Yeah,
it's, yeah, I think we need to really, really get in there for Coop based on what's happened in the free agency already and everything. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely wouldn't be upset about it if it came down to it. 60 mil, I don't really like it, but like I said, maybe we can bring it down a little bit or work a counterpart, something, right? We'll see what happens. In terms of dream midfielder or just midfielder as a whole. So dream midfielder or midfielder as a whole, that what are we talking, like realistic here, Adam? Are we what do you mean? What are we getting at here?
no, it sounds like not realistic because dream is probably something that won't happen. So my answer
My dreams
would
always come
be
true, buddy.
yeah, okay. You dream of Martin Odegaard and maybe it will come true. Yeah,
Odegaard, eh?
Martin Odegaard, based on just performances, the way he plays, his age. Obviously, we don't even come close to being able to afford him, so that's not going to happen. But
So
dream midfielder,
realistic.
yeah,
So realistic and not. So he's saying one realistic and one not. Okay. So for realistic, well, we just talked about it. I mean, I think Coop's got to be in there now as a realistic signing, and probably he he is the top midfielder we've been linked with as far like outside of free agency. Maybe you could argue that maybe some of those guys would be obviously better when you're hearing of the free agency guys, but out of the guys available now, I'd say he's the top midfielder we've been linked with. Outside of, maybe you can make a shout for there's a lot of people that want Kefren Turam over him and whatnot, but let's have that. Let me twist the question on that. if you had to pick between those two, would you want Thuram over Koop Meiners?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure I would. I might
I
be.
get I get why. I
y-
understand why I had that thought when you started the question, but yeah, don't know why. I like the Ram. It's nothing to do with tactics, position, or anything. I just like the player and I want him at Juve.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, like, obviously I have no beef with Thuram whatsoever. I would be very happy with that signing too, but I would personally choose Coop over him. I just think there's more flexibility there in terms of he'll go anywhere across the middle, easier and more seamlessly. That's why I'd pick Coop, but that's a really really tough one. That's a really really tough one because Turan
I'll
would
be
be.
fine with both. I
Yeah,
mean, both would be
yeah,
great, so I don't really mind. It's not
yeah,
like you're offering Darun or Turam.
yeah. So I'll throw Coop or Turam as one of those, realistic whatever. As far as a dream one, so you've got Odegaard, man. I'd obviously I'd go even now whatever anytime. KDB for me, man. I would definitely go KDB. Um, just unreal.
Dream one. I would take Valverde without question.
Valverde,
Like that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another one I'll take easily.
Actually, and you know what? To be honest, like Jude, man.
Yeah, I mean Bellingham is just
I'm gonna throw Jude there
yeah,
and wipe out everything I just said because everything about this guy, and it pains me that he's English, okay, but just the guy is a beauty in all aspects, man. And I feel like it was just last week I was talking about this guy on the show and saying like I think he's literally going to be the face of the game for quite some time. Like he's unbelievable. So I'd say
yeah,
Jude.
he's a catapult. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would agree with that. Although I really like Odegaard, but yeah,
yeah,
can't argue over Bellingham.
yeah. Now Forza Juve, I know this sounds insane. Well, that's right up our alley. Love it. But I miss Paredes. Okay. What? He's an asshole, and we do lack assholes. Talked about that. Last season, he had a lot of injuries and couldn't play to his best. Should we have kept him knowing he was cheap? Or go in for how cheap Roma ended up picking him up and whatnot? You know what? This is one of those things that really shows you. And number one, we don't really know. Like I will say this. I give credit to Paredes because he didn't even really speak about Juventus in like at all in terms of directly. He said he was kind of sorry he couldn't be his best and said it was due to injuries and he wasn't 100% and everything. And he took it all on his shoulders and stuff. And I kind of like applaud that. But is it 100% true? Like we don't necessarily really know, but it shows you that there's this whole aspect and element that we don't know about that goes on behind the scenes that we have to actually trust our team. Okay? And we have to actually trust our club and the people making that decision that they know what's best based on what they get day in, day out, and see behind the scenes. And this is something I've been talking about. I literally talked about it on the last daily update video. That Tiago Djaló is a prime example. We don't know. We're not there day to day. And while we can get frustrated, because it is a frustrating scenario when you want to see a guy to be able to pass judgment, these guys behind the scenes know what's going on. And if they're saying we're ready to move this guy on, you have to trust that there's something going on there. The Paredes thing, if we were judging on the performances, it's see you later. It would be up to Juve at that point to say, well, you know what? He's been battling this, this, and this. Maybe we should, go in on it and give it another shot. But they made a call. I'm probably going to back it overall on Paredes because I just think I was actually taken back by what he was saying and whatnot. Because I think, yeah, I personally like to stay away from him. That's just me. But Omer,
Yeah, it has nothing to do with how he played at Juve. I always thought he was super lucky to play at the teams that he played. Being part of Argentina, who has Messi in it, and Aguero and all those guys that were around him. He's always been the weak link in every midfield he played. He wasn't a starter at Roma in his first stint. He wasn't anything special for Paris Saint Germain, and he wasn't anything special for us. And now he's doing a bit better for Roma, at least since De Rossi came in. Yeah, but maybe that's his level,
yeah,
mid-table. Maybe that's where he can shine. And I mean, what he said was nice.
yeah,
Let's put it that way. Better than what some other players said, and I give him credit for that. But I don't think he's a good player no, by any stretch of the imagination. He's just
yeah.
an
I just
asshole who
never
made his
really,
way to the top by being that.
and that's just it for me. That's what it all really comes down to. I just never have held him up to like a certain height of whatever of a player, and I literally came on here on that daily update video when we were picking him up, and I was like, I don't see this pushing the needle for Juventus like at all. And we saw how it played out, whether it was injuries or not, whatever. For Roma now, yeah, I mean, that's good. That's also a midfield where, with Lorenzo Pellegrini, Cristante, I mean, yeah, I'd expect him to shine over Cristante. I can't stand that guy. Lorenzo Pellegrini's good, but yeah, he's found a home, and sometimes atmospheres just work, with a guy. And I will say this: Paredes does feel like a De Rossi guy. And maybe that like kind of plays into it too and helps because I
Mhm.
really do think that makes sense. Especially in the heart of the midfield, Paredes being a De Rossi guy, it just makes sense. So sometimes it's just environment, but I don't think we made a mistake with Paredes. Guys, keep your questions coming in. I'm gonna open this one up to Omar. If you've got any questions, anything we didn't tackle, anything you want to bring up or talk about.
Yeah, okay, so it's a bit more general about Serie A in general, but maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I actually think what's going to happen this summer will get Italy back in business with all the coaching changes. I feel like the only thing that's missing is for Juve to start performing and actually being a competitive team, challenges everyone. But if the rumors are true, Motta to Juve, Inzaghi stays at Inter, Conceição goes to Milan, Pioli goes to Napoli, and I don't know, maybe I heard Italiano might go to Bologna. It sounds interesting. I mean, Serie A is on the rise, in my opinion, in the past 2 years, except for Juve, and I believe it will be better for the league in general. I think they're going to make a big leap forward if those are the changes that are going to happen.
Yeah, I yeah, absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
all
I mean,
sounds right. It all sounds like it fits.
the coaching thing could be unreal in Serie A
And
next
and
season. Would
Conte
be
is still
one
up in
epic
the air.
storyline on its own. On its
Yeah,
own. But
yeah. Conte's still up in the air. He can sign somewhere
yeah,
where he wants. I mean,
I'm standing firm, man. He's waiting to see what goes down. I do believe Malta's first choice, but I think once you get that, then you get Conte signing somewhere.
yeah.
Once it's dead in the
And there,
water.
and there was a report that Paris Saint Germain are going to swoop in for Mota because they're getting rid of Enrique and he's going to play for them. He's going to coach them because he played there. And in that case, it will be Conte. Personally, I'm not buying it, but I wouldn't be surprised after letting go of Mbappe. They'll offer him any contract he wants, so it's up to him if there's any truth to that report.
Yeah. Yeah. Swati, I want us to fight tooth and nail with the big guns in the Champions League. It's going to take some time. We just got to build up. Hey,
All of us.
the mistakes I mean, we can all highlight many business errors and decisions, contracts and whatnot. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. You don't clean all that up like that. And naturally, as fans, naturally as diehards, you want it corrected like that. And your belief that has been instilled from the club and their success, whatnot, makes you believe that you can do it, that you can push through, that you could still keep your expectations at the highest. But we have come to find that there's no hiding it. There's no band-aid. There's no quick fix. Like, we're in the thick of it right now. We are in the trenches. We have to ride it out. We've been through worse. The beautiful thing about it is that at our worst, we're still here amongst the top, and we're going to qualify for Champions League, okay? We're making Coppa Italia finals. There's a fan of some Chihuahuas in here that still might be in the live chat that faded into the oblivion through their downs, okay? And they went almost into irrelevancy. They were irrelevant for quite some time. That's not happening, okay? And that's a big positive. Next Gen will help us. There are other clubs currently looking to set up the same scenario that we have had since what, 2019? 2018 or 2019? It's beautiful now. Stockpiling some of the best young talent out there and seeing. Probably, I expect, by the time we're up to where we need to be, very few will get integrated into the first squad. But make no mistake about it, that is a cash cow. Juve Next Gen, when we get everything right on our first team roster, Next Gen will really shine because it's going to be that constant cash cow. But the top guys come in, and then we see what we have. And then you make a decision. You showcase, maybe you sell, and then if a guy's ready, a guy's able, boom, he's in. So we got all the foundations of the main pieces are in place for something sustainable, long term, that will help us throughout Serie A's errors and blunders. And that's something that came up too. A little bit of a rift there. Inter, Juve, Milan, Roma, all with a letter of no confidence in Serie A president. So it's going to be interesting to see more teams jump on the side. I'm kind of left wondering what took so long. What took so long for a vote of confidence in these clowns over there? But again, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I remember, like, it takes longer than expected to do cleanups because the first players you want to clean up doesn't want to leave. I mean, look to the previous cleanup we did and how long that took with all the aging players. How long did it take us to get rid of Pjanic, Matuidi, Khedira, Ramsey, Higuain, Bonucci, and we still have some guys left from that era. And it's not easy to get rid of them. So I don't expect Juve to get rid of everyone they want immediately this summer. Some of those guys will get dragged out to next season, maybe even the summer afterwards.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. Like, if there's no buyers for Kostic, he still has 2 years on his contract. So I'm not expecting it to happen fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't expect it to happen quickly. It's just going to take some time, but we'll be fine. We'll be good. Do you agree an 18 team league is better for Serie A? Honestly, like, it's so you take away 2 teams, a home and away, that's 4 games saved. Is that make or break in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah.
Is it?
We can't really. That's an assumption, but still, I mean, you gotta fight it some way, because now there are 10 games in the Champions League group stage, and then by the end of the season, after summer with Euros, then you'll have Next summer, the Club World Cup, which is 63 more games. What we're going to get is, once again, the players who don't want to lose the big tournaments. So we'll see them riding the bench more than we expect. And in the dying month of the season, where it's most important, we're going to see tons of injuries because it's not good for the human body to play that much in that span of time. And so whatever you can do to lower the amount of games we're going to have next season, every team is going to have next season, do it. Even if it's 4 games, you
Yeah.
start there. And we're not even talking about whatever they will have next season, Nations League, World Cup qualification. I have no idea, but something will be there.
I I I don't think the format is a problem. I don't think 4 games is make or break. That's just me. I really don't think it's make or break. Um,
I think you got to start somewhere. Because obviously UEFA and FIFA are not doing anything for it, and there's even like FIFPro have issued a letter against UEFA saying they're overloading the players. The FIFPro is the organization that is in charge of taking care of players and their health and everything, and they're not liking it. They're
the
not liking what they're
players,
doing.
what needs to happen is the players need to actually form their union, is what needs to happen.
Well, they
But
have to.
the league, I don't think the league format is make or break. These competitions that are run by another organization and everything, obviously, that are setting in. I mean, at
I'll
some
tell you what did happen in Germany, and happens still every season. Maybe not now, but it happens for the past decade. Those 4 games gave them an option for a full month of rest between December and January, which could be super crucial for a season. Forget a full month in the middle of the season to regroup and get your energy back and everything after the first round. That could be massive. That could have major implications on the season. But we won't have it because we will have to travel somewhere to play the Super Copa, which is now also a tournament and adds another match.
well, see, that's
We can't just
where
sit there and take it.
see
We can't
that's
just sit there and take it.
that's away from the league, and that's kind of the stuff that starts to get gimmicky. I mean, Supercopa should just remain. It should always remain, and you don't need to travel everywhere to play it. Okay, but that also needs to be handled at a different time than they're doing it. Because, like, Serie A is kind of doing it to themselves in that instance because they're running it in the winter
Absolutely.
and taking it out in the middle of the season. It's like, no, get it done first thing. That could essentially be like your preseason kickoff, whatnot, and it's a Super Copa tournament and you want to do it elsewhere. Fine. That then makes sense. But I still wouldn't. I would still make it a one off. And you could still travel for the one off Coppa Italia final. That's fine. They used to do that in the past too. Um, so for the Super Copa, I would do it that way. Coppa Italia, I'd leave that. That's fine. In the league, 4 games. The bigger issue here is if players are actually going to sit there and bitch about how much they're playing and everything like that. And when the most of it hasn't come domestically, it's come from like Nations League or now potentially like a new Champions League format, all this. Well, then if you're going to go on interviews and you're going to talk about it and you're not going to like the travel, you're not going to like some of these tournaments, you're not going to like what's going, then make a union, make a players union, and then you can have a leg to stand on. But if nobody's combating it, I don't think format is an issue in Italy. And I don't understand why they would take away more games, take away more teams getting into that Serie A, which could help set teams. Because now this year coming up, you're going to have Parma return to Serie A, which is awesome. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. That's a
it is.
team that's got great history. So now all of a sudden, like, yeah, you want teams getting back in there. You want those teams getting the funds from Serie A. I don't think it helps Serie A making it two less teams getting into that and getting that opportunity to push through.
Really?
It doesn't it
I
doesn't
think it
make
does.
sense to me.
I think it does. I think it can have major implications. Although I really would like to see Parma and Como in the league, and it's not something you can just do like UEFA are doing and just announcing You'll have more games without a lot of time to prep. So you should announce it at least a season in advance that we're gonna have 5 teams relegated and only two. And you can't make the call now when teams who fought and thought they were out of the relegation zone find themselves in Serie B.
Yeah.
And there needs to be planning. There needs to be, they need to predict it. But
Yeah.
I still think too many games. I mean, how many podcasts are we going to have next season? We're going to surpass the 300 mark.
Hey, man, I'm ready. I'm ready. We got time for a couple more. We got a hard stop in like 4 minutes. Have you seen Chaun of Salernitana? Can he be a backup winger?
No.
I am not really intrigued. I will just leave it at that. That's probably as nice as I can really put it. I know where this one's coming from, but I saw it from Adam somewhere here. Let me see if I could track it down here. Where is it? Here we go. Is there any Inter player you like and don't think of as a cunt? They're all cunts. You have to be. It's a prerequisite to join that club. Is you have to be a cunt. But they have some players, I'll be honest. Yeah, I like and whatnot, but I don't really care to talk about it or anything. I'd rather not waste my time talking about cunts. So
Okay, let's change the question. Who is your favorite Inter player that you have seen play? I mean, not recently.
what? Like just ever?
Yeah, player you wish played for Juve or had like his best years at Inter. Because I'll tell you
Uh,
right now, Fieri was my favorite striker for a long time. I mean, aside from Del Piero and stuff, but that wasn't when he was at Juve. It actually
yeah.
was when he played for Inter.
Ronaldo Nazario. And obviously because he was in tears on the bench after Cinque Maggio. So
Good memories. Yeah,
yes, good memories there. But I actually R9 for me was always just ridiculous, ridiculous. But
yeah,
Vieri is a
I,
great shout. Militao probably or
yeah.
Militao. That's
Milito.
the fucking Brazilian defender. Milito
Yeah,
and Militao's actually I think on the outs there. We'll see, but
yeah. I thought Mike Cohn was very good player. I actually
Mike
liked him.
Conn was such a bitch. He was so good. He
He
hurt
was
us in
good.
some Derby
Yeah,
d'Italias, but yeah, yeah.
yeah. And honestly, I mean, can't not appreciate Zanetti and everything he has done in his career and the stats he have. Yeah,
Eto,
I don't like him, but I do appreciate him.
yeah, yeah. Handanovic was such a good keeper, man. Fuck, he let in so
Oh
many
yeah,
softies for us. It
I
was
love him.
amazing.
I
I
love him
love
playing for
Handanovic.
Inter.
I love the standing in place after that comeback where we win 3-2.
Yeah,
Oh, Handanovic.
my
Love
friend
it.
called him the photographer because he used
Yeah.
to take photos of goals. He just stand there and accompany the ball into goal. So he used to call him the photographer.
Handanovic, the photographer. Love it. Love it. Oh, great, great times. You guys, wraps up preview show. Hope you had a good time. All right. The season's coming to an end. I saw Alex P's comment earlier saying, I can't wait for the season to end. Look, everybody's kind of just, we just need it over. We just need to get the job done, reach Champions League qualification, and then just get to, again, Coppa Italia final and hopefully win that trophy. Okay. So we'll see where the chips lie in the weeks to follow. But everybody, been a fun show. Again, reminder, please like the video on your way out. Enjoy the match today. Again, reminder, no watch along today, but there is a watch along for the Coppa Italia final. All right. So I'm ready to rock that one with all of you. Omer, absolute pleasure as always. He took
Always
off
a
the
pleasure.
t-shirt, had the tank top underneath. God damn it, we shouldn't need the tank top for Salernitana, but that's what it's come to, all right? So we're not missing any of the superstitions just to get the job done, okay? He
Yeah,
predicts 2-0. I got 3-0. Hopefully, one way or another, it's a victory. I don't care if it's 1-0, okay? I don't care if it's a goal off the ref's ass, okay? Just get the victory. That's all that counts. You guys, as always, fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for the post-match podcast. Ciao tutti. Take care.
Yeah.